What is neoliberalism? And is it really that bad? This is Zakes here, and today we'll be talking about, well, a boogeyman of sorts in the South African political landscape. We'll be talking about what is understood as neoliberalism. Now, what is this? This can be broadly understood as what we advocate here at the Free Market Foundation, which is liberty, freedom, market-oriented reforms. This is the elimination of state intervention in people's lives and broadly in the economy. Neoliberalism pretty much advances the notion that everyone has the agency and the capability of making their own choices. And with this understanding in mind, allowing people to make those own choices in the economic sphere produces the most wonderful of results. What do you mean it produces the most wonderful of results, right? We first have to contrast neoliberalism with its opposite, which is state interventionism, right? When people are making their own decision, those who oppose that want to make those decisions for other people. And this is exemplified through socialism, democratic socialism, whatever flavor really you want to look at it from. But state interventionism, taken to its logical conclusion, produces Venezuela. It produces Mao's China. It produces the Holodomor famine. It produces so many atrocities. They have written a literal black book about them. But contrasted that with the boogeyman that is considered neoliberalism, it produces prosperity. There's an index produced by the Fraser Institute in Canada called the Economic Freedom of the World Index. In this index, it measures how free a country's economy is, pretty much how neoliberal it is. And when you look at the results from that index, you see that the most neoliberal of countries, the countries that allow businesses to act with minimal state interference, have the highest quality of life outcomes of the highest incomes. They even have the highest incomes for the lowest 10% of the population than compared in countries where the state is the most interventionist. These are countries like Venezuela, and South Africa is slowly creeping towards that, direction. Now, what are typical examples of a neoliberal economy? A neoliberal economy would be an economy that does not have minimum wage, that does not restrict contracts between employers and employees acting as a third party, a government that is quite small in terms of the spending that it does, minimal in terms of the scope of regulations that it has over the economy, which will give the normal people the latitude and agency to take those decisions that would otherwise be regulated in an interventionist economy. So pretty much it is a jurisdiction that allows people to be as free as they possibly can without hurting anyone else. Contrasted there with an interventionist state, which always portray themselves as being very caring, but when you actually look at the outcomes of the people in those jurisdictions, you start actually seeing the horrors of interventionism. And there's no greater example of the beauty of free markets than the People's Republic of China, which was under Maoist rule, was as interventionist as it gets. It controlled the economy, it planned it out. People did not have really identifiable private property rights. And then you fast forward to the 1970s, after Mao's death, and the early 80s, then you start seeing these reforms happening all throughout China, thanks to men like Deng Xiaoping and what is now called, socialism with Chinese characteristics, but really is a less interventionist economy, thereby proving that, when you give people the power, the agency to take decisions on their own and to own the results of those decisions themselves, then, you will have what China always brags about, which is, lifting the most people out of poverty than any other country in the history of humanity. And that is the power of markets, the power of freedom. So as always, please tell us what you think. Do you think neoliberalism is the boogeyman it is made out to be? We certainly don't, because we love freedom. And we hope that you always remember to stay free.